financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is Chapter 13 and housing issues. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. A pleasure to be here this
Mr.
morning.
Chapter 13 guru.
Ooh, I'm a guru. All
You
right.
been doing yoga?
You know, I can't even touch my toes, so that could be a problem. There's no yoga in my life.
I always thought with your shaved head that kind of goes with yoga and...
He needs the long wispy beard.
Yeah, there's
we'll have to get you one of those that you could just paste on. Jeffrey Linden, good morning.
Good morning.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Good morning. Now I'm bothered though thinking about Brian's toes. But he won't touch them, and I won't touch them either.
I won't even think about him. All right, so here are some housing issues different than years past. How are they different? What's different today in the context of someone who's maybe thinking about Chapter 13 or is in a financial problem with regard to housing?
Home values are up.
I was going to say, it's equity. It's crazy. The COVID epidemic caused equity to be created in homes because people are keeping them. Values skyrocketed because there's such a limited amount of housing available.
Why is that COVID?
Well, that's what happened. That out of the results of COVID, if we were in a normal market where people were buying and selling homes regularly, the homes wouldn't have grown in so much in value in such a short period of time.
Well, it's COVID because people were trapped at home, so they weren't selling and moving homes. They were taking their time and their money that they got because they weren't spending it and rehabbing their homes and increasing values.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys are right, but I mean, the way I looked at it, and it's really not that important, is that people wanted. There was over demand for homes because it was a incredible seller's market. There were buyers who were out there, and they were paying enormously high inflated prices because supply was low. Maybe supply was low because people didn't want to sell, but they didn't want to sell for two reasons. One is, it's not that they didn't want to go outside. They didn't want to sell because you can't sell if you have to then buy and you want to pay the enormous high price. If you're the last time seller, like I'm selling and I'm going to the sky, or I'm going to the nursing home, or I'm retiring and moving to Florida, then you sell.
But there's also an issue with regard to interest rates. Interest rates were
Yes.
right. No, but back then interest rates were very low, and so it
More
was almost
demand.
like right, more
Free
demand,
money.
free money.
Right.
People feel that I could spend more money to get a house and get this super low interest rate. All of a sudden, interest rates skyrocketed.
Actually, people felt that they could borrow more money.
Well, that too.
and that
I think
creates
that's part of it.
a problem unto itself. More debt. And then,
Well, more debt, I mean, you're buying a bigger house.
but people, when they
If it's supported
Other
by an
things,
asset.
Sure, but they borrowed more money to buy the bigger house. Then they went into bigger debt to furnish that house, to
At higher interest
at
rates.
higher interest rates. It's a cycle that people don't even realize what it costs to buy a house, what it really means
You
to buy a
hit
house.
you hit on one that I haven't really read about or thought about, but that's 100% right, is that go back to the low interest rates, the 3.5%. And even at that point, a person who's first-time buyer, they're putting all of their money in the down payment. They don't have the plan to furnish the home. They have the plan to get the home. They get the home. Now they're furnishing it. And where are they furnishing it? They're furnishing it on interest-free long-term payments with credit cards that have interest built into them, particularly if you default and miss a payment. And now interest rates are higher, so they're paying for that furniture with higher interest rates.
Well, and the funny thing is
and they can't afford it.
if you look at the whole picture, like my daughter and my stepdaughter both keep saying, I want to buy a house because I'm tired of paying rent. And I've sat down with both of them and showed them, okay, here's what it costs to your rent. Here's what your mortgage would be. It would be less. Now add in all the other things that are associated with the house, like maintenance.
So you're
your
saying you
water
don't
bill.
build equity in a home?
You do eventually build equity in a home, but not usually in the first 7 years of a mortgage.
So are you telling them not to buy a home?
At this point, yeah, neither one of them should buy a house.
Interesting.
Because of the
But if they buy the house and it goes up in value, then are you wrong?
I'm still right because it's cash flow for them right now.
Because he's
When
giant.
was the last time you were wrong, Mr. Small? The last time we had a debate?
No,
All right,
clearly
let's-
not.
Let's talk
The
about.
best you ever get out of Brian is this may have not been the most right I have ever been.
There you go.
I'm good. I'm absolutely good with that. I've been righter before.
Yeah.
Not
Tara,
really a word, but it explains it.
Tara and Ron, mid-50s, 2 kids in college, combined income $120,000 a year. Good things. They have a home in Farmington Hills, market value $375,000, mortgage $275,000. So there's $100,000 of equity. They have $153,000 in their IRA, and the cash in bank they got $7,500.
That's good shape for a young family.
Bad things. Mid-50s is young.
Yeah.
All right, bad things.
mean, you're old. I'm
they're
not.
5 months behind on their mortgage. The
I'm in my mid-50s,
When I was
okay.
in my mid-50s, I was old because you were in your 40s.
Yeah.
Mortgage payments $2,600 a month. They're behind $13,000 on the house. They have $120,000 of credit card debt.
That's bad. That's some serious debt. And the biggest problem they're facing, of course, is that they're 5 months behind on their house, which means that the lender can start a foreclosure, and probably already has.
And if not, it's going to happen imminently.
Yes.
All right, Jerry the bartender says,
Jerry, how is he?
cash out your IRA. You don't have to pay the 10% penalty because the hardship rules are still applying. Pay off the credit cards. Pay off the mortgage arrearage. Save your credit score and the stigma of bankruptcy.
Can I smack Jerry? Can I throw a drink in Jerry's face?
Yes, you can do all of those things, but fortunately, you will then get arrested,
Unfortunately.
thrown in jail, have a criminal record, and probably be disbarred as
All
an
right,
attorney.
can I just yell at
so I
Jerry?
encourage you to throw the drink in Jerry's face and then punch him in the nose.
Nah,
And
but I'll
then,
just yell at him. How's
Jeff, you can bail him out. We'll bail you out, but you'll still lose your license
that?
to
In
practice
that
law.
case, I'm just going to yell at Jerry.
Let's take a break and we'll work on raising money for Brian's bail.
Spring is upon us, full of hope. With hope comes the reminder that you need to protect your future and the future of your loved ones. THAV GROSS is holding a free estate planning seminar April 19th in our offices in Bingham Farms. We will discuss the importance of having a will, a trust, and powers of attorney. And yes, it's absolutely free. You need to protect yourself and avoid the probate of your assets when you pass away. To sign up, call us today at 888-235-HELP or sign up at thavgross.com.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
I was married for 57 years before my husband died.
Simasco Law had established a trust for them before this happened.
There's so much to do in the beginning, but after about a month, you're kind of alone.
We deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
If you continue to have good support and know that your finances and your estate is in order, that's one thing that's so comforting. I would just highly recommend Simasco Law.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, now that we've gotten you out of jail, Brian, let's talk substantively about Jerry's points. What is there any logic to what he's saying?
None.
What about his credit? What about your credit score?
Who cares? Credit score heals. Credit scores come back. They've already harmed their credit score by being 5 months behind on the mortgage. They've done almost as much damage as they humanly can to the credit score. Fixing the problem will fix the credit score.
And besides, they don't need
there's
it.
various different ways to fix the problem.
Absolutely.
Okay. The bad side of taking all the money from the IRA
Well, they're in their 50s. They're never going to put it all back.
is you lose your savings.
You lose your retirement
But
savings.
we do agree on 2 points. They need to get rid of the credit card debt,
Yes.
and they need to save the house from foreclosure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's look at their balance sheet first. Okay, they got cash in bank on Jerry's analysis and after Jerry. They still have $7,500 in the bank. Jerry says cash out the IRA, which means you're going to take $133,000 to pay off the credit cards and the housing arrearage, and you're going to pay at least $20,000 in tax on the IRA. So the IRA is gone under Jerry's analysis. Right now, there's $153,000 in an IRA.
Mm-hmm.
The house is the same value. The mortgage is the same value. Right now, with the credit card debt, there's $120,000 before Jerry. So right now, their net worth is $127,000 with the debt and the IRA. Their net worth, getting rid of the debt and cashing out the IRA, goes down $20,000 because of the taxes. But that's not really the whole story,
No.
like you said, because the big story is building a retirement. They're in their 50s. If they can preserve that IRA, it'll continue to grow. They continue to add to it. That IRA at 70 has a foundation to be close to $1 million right now.
Yep.
If they go back and reset to zero, they're not going to be able to get there that quickly. Because what do you put away in an IRA every year? $7,500.
At their age,
Over
a
50
little
years
more.
old, $7,500
Yeah.
a year each.
Okay, so you can't get there that quickly. You need some growth time. But once you have that money and it's at $150,000 and $200,000, when we're having good growth in the markets, it's growing at a high rate. All right. So is there a better alternative?
Yes.
Will Chapter 13 work? Will debt resolution work?
So
that's my question.
So will Chapter 13 work? Yes. Chapter 13 will be able to be done, and we can restructure their debt and catch their house up over 5 years. The problem in this case for Tara and Ron is that Chapter 13 will be more expensive than an alternative that exists.
Explain what is it? All because of the equity in the house?
It's because of the equity in the house and because of the exemptions that you can take to protect a certain amount of equity in the house. They won't have to pay back everybody in full, but they certainly will have to pay back roughly $50,000 of their credit card debt in Chapter 13.
So let me break it down, because we've talked about this before. Your basic premise on the $13,000 they're behind on the house is they get 60 months to catch it up. So that would only be $216 a month, plus they have to make their regular monthly payment, right?
Correct.
Right. So if they had zero equity in the house, or they had $20,000 of equity in the house, and they
even
could
if they
protect it
had
all,
$40,000 equity in the house,
then they could get, in that Chapter 13, how much would they have to pay the credit card companies?
zero.
Okay, but because they have $100,000 of equity in the house,
We do something called the liquidation analysis. We pretend like we're selling the house, and then we look at what a Chapter 7 trustee would get in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And in this case, it'd be about $50,000. So here's the interesting thing: we've got two different roads we can go down with them. One is Chapter 13, which does make sense. The reason it makes sense is because they don't have to dip into their IRA or their 401k or any other sort of savings in order to save the home, and we have 5 years to deal with this problem.
right, but you have to pay back, you're saying $50,000 of the credit card debt would have to be paid back over the 5 years?
Yes, which is
So it's
roughly,
about $800 a month?
Yes, but which is roughly what we would also be doing in a debt resolution situation.
Well, but here's my question. Will they be able to afford the credit card payments and the catch-up based upon their budget? Because their budget had them $2,900 a month behind, which is really the $3,000 they were paying on their credit cards.
The answer is we have to do some budget management to get their expenses under control.
If their budget doesn't allow it, are they ineligible for the 13, or do they get to pay the lower amount?
They're ineligible. They're eligible for the 13, subject to being able to pay back the amount of unprotected equity that we have.
That $800 a month?
Yes.
And if they can't do that, then what?
Then we have to look to a different alternative.
So that to do the Chapter 13, you're going to have to manage their budget so that they can squeeze out, not paying any credit card debt.
Right.
They can squeeze out basically $1,000 a month.
But that's what we do. That's what we find for them. They have the money in their
They had
budget.
$1,200 in their food budget. Is that can you trim that on a family of 4?
Sure. We got lots of opportunity in
What,
their
Taco
budget.
Bell every day?
No.
And
A
Spam.
lot of it has more to do with meal planning and not wasting food. The average family of 4 discards over 30% of their grocery budget on a weekly basis.
Can you cut their cable, internet, and cell phones from $500 a month?
Yes, we can. There are alternatives for every single expense that's
Are
out
you going to
there.
reduce their gas to less than $200 a month? Gas
Probably
and
not.
maintenance?
But
That's-
Brian, my credit cards. Now you've done this. I've lost my credit card.
Yes, you have.
What do I do now?
Cash is king. You learn to live within your means. In this case, we have to get these folks to learn to live within less than their means. But Chapter 13 will work.
But do you ever see people get credit cards back once they do something like this?
Oh, of course. Yes, credit restores itself. Credit cards come back in the mail tenfold. And at the end of the day, for Tara and Ron, although there are other alternatives, which we'll discuss, Chapter 13 is a viable opportunity for them to save their home and get rid of the majority of their credit card debt.
All right, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to ask you one more question about the credit cards, and then we'll look at the alternative.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Pat was recommended by a friend who insisted that we really needed a trust. And he said, I know somebody who will do a good job for you.
At Samasco Law, we deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
We had excellent service from Samasco Law. Any questions we had were addressed. Our estate is in order, and it had been set up so well that nothing needed to be done. I would just highly recommend Samasco Law.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Time for announcements. We've got free seminars coming up. On Wednesday, April 19th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we all need an estate plan. Key elements of a plan, what you need to know and address, how to avoid probate, how to protect your family. Attendees receive a gold certificate for $300 off the cost of any plan. Call 888-235-HELP, 888-235-HELP, or register online at lawandreality.com. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. We still do them via tele or Zoom conference if you like, but by all means, we're doing them in office. This is the post-COVID world. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff. Again, just sign up lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also, go to our website to get the free reports, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself, Bankruptcy Is It Right for Me by Brian, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and Pat's Retiree's Guide to Social Security. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Spring is upon us, full of hope. With hope comes the reminder that you need to protect your future and the future of your loved ones. THAV GROSS is holding a free estate planning seminar April 19th in our offices in Bingham Farms. We will discuss the importance of having a will, a trust, and powers of attorney. And yes, it's absolutely free. You need to protect yourself and avoid the probate of your assets when you pass away. To sign up, call us today at 888-235-HELP or sign up at thavgross.com.
All right, we're back. So Jeff raised, I thought, a good point. Clients often say this: how am I going to book a reservation at a hotel or travel during my Chapter 13 if I don't have a credit card?
Debit card, baby. That's how it works. All of these companies, you can rent a car, you can get a hotel.
Or a prepaid credit card.
Or a prepaid credit card. You can absolutely use any of those for
and
hotels.
And that issue, I can tell you this, we've been doing this for 40 years. Every client comes in, whether it's debt resolution or bankruptcy, and asks the question, well, will I be able to get a credit card? Will I be able to get something so I can travel? The answer is 40 years, every single client's been able to either get a debit card or a credit card and solve that problem without a problem. So the answer is it's not a problem. So what's their other alternative?
So then debt resolution is also a viable
Because we talk about that a lot.
Debt resolution is settling their debts for less than what they owe, pennies on the dollar.
Power the minimum monthly payment.
That's right.
So you take their minimum monthly payment on $120,000 of credit card debt is $3,000 a month. So can't they just take that $3,000 a month and use that money to settle the credit cards basically at 40 to 45% over 2 years the way we do it?
They absolutely could if they had it, but remember their budget's upside down.
Right.
So
no, wait, stay on that. Their budget, which we just were looking at, is $3,000 a month over, and that's the credit card payments. So the concept is they don't have the power of the minimum monthly payment to settle the credit card debt. So doesn't that mean they have to do the Chapter 13?
Well, Chapter 13,
or
we already know it works.
Or cash out the IRA.
No, they should not cash out the IRA. Between budget, if we can get them into a budget management program, we will find, say, half of that $3,000. Okay?
Okay.
Now, if we find half, We can start saving that to be our war chest to negotiate with the credit cards. And if we have to dip into the IRA a little bit in order to get the settlement dollars, we're not taking away the whole IRA, which is what Jerry's recommendation was.
Jerry was saying, take your $153,000 IRA, $120,000. Here, credit card companies. Here's every penny you're owed. You've gotten your 28% interest for the last 18 years. We're 100% clear with you. Our credit score will be perfect, and we have nothing left. Even if you use the IRA your way, and you had to take advantage of it, and you only pay the credit card companies ultimately $60,000 or $50,000 of the $170,000, you're saving the rest of the IRA, and you're not paying taxes on that money.
So on the non-bankruptcy side, what we're going to do is we're going to take out enough money to immediately catch the mortgage up. We're going to reinstate the mortgage.
So they don't have to worry about foreclosure.
And then we're going to do budget management and create some wealth so that we can negotiate with, using the IRA as a backup. That works for those people that really want to avoid bankruptcy. However, in this situation, for Tara and Ron, Chapter 13 bankruptcy makes more sense for one simple reason.
The credit card companies are going to get the same amount either way?
Right.
Is that the simple reason?
No.
That's the complicated reason.
The simple reason is they get to keep their IRA, 100% of it, while they're in the Chapter 13. They never touch it, which means that $150,000 they have in their IRA 5 years later is probably $400,000.
So on balance, if Tara and Ron just were so stressed out of the concept of bankruptcy, you could do debt resolution.
Yes.
But on balance between the two, your assessment would be bankruptcy is probably the smoother, better outcome for them because we're assured of keeping the IRA.
Based on these facts, but it's as I love to say, the problem is individual to the individual, and the solution is individual to the individual.
Have you ever said that before?
You know, occasionally I do say that.
He has utilized that phrase.
A quick point on debt. We talk about debt resolution. Understand that's not debt settlement. THAV GROSS does debt resolution. We're the only ones because we created it, okay? It's a 2-year program. It's designed to resolve the debt in 24 months, not 48 months. It doesn't charge you to hold your money. You develop the war chest and keep it yourself. It doesn't charge 20% of the debt. It charges 10% of the debt. And if you get sued or have a problem with the creditor, we defend the case, and the lawyers at our firm settle the case, not assistants. It's completely different than debt settlement. You need to understand that. It's a good, viable alternative to a Chapter 13 or Chapter 7. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.
Thank you.